All right, we're talking about ADHD, my guys, my sweet, sweet friends of the webs. One of many things that stops me from achieving anything in life is ADHD, possibly autism, or I'm just gonna reject every diagnosis that I have and say that I'm perfect, okay? I'm 100% perfect, diagnose me with quirky. Okay, so whether writing comics, novels, any long-term project, schoolwork, could you imagine doing schoolwork? Not me. But any long-term project is super, super alluring to my ADHD brain, okay? Giant project, a zillion characters. Oh, the potential. My friends, I am so allured. You too are allured, but because I also, I know, okay? Beautiful, large projects, bustling friend time, 10,000%, okay? Like, it's fun. Creating my magnum opus, not fun. Completing large projects that requires diligent concentration, persistence, consistency. Who is she? I don't know her. Have you met consistency? Because I haven't. Okay? But as someone who has actually completed many comic scripts, I have I don't know, how many books do I have out? There's 3 of Magpie and 2 of Pretty Mouth, and then there's Sovereign that never got published, but that's 500 pages of comics, so that's pretty impressive, okay? And I have published 2 novels, which I'm probably sewing right now in the footage. If I'm not, I don't know, hit me with a stick, I guess, okay? But because I have achieved so much, and I am so gracious and so wonderful and just so kind, I am going to tell you my tips for dealing with my, ADHD thing. Yes, 5 tips, because we like lists in this house. Okay, so my number one tip for writing and arting and comicking with ADHD is to 1, discovery write, and 2, create novelty for yourself, okay? Before I go about counteracting everything I'm about to say, I think it helps me most to write and get work done by discovery writing. There are 2 main types of writing that one can do. There's planning and discovery. I think some people call this gardening versus, I don't know, nature? What's the opposite of gardens? House building? Wow, I don't know. Then there's planning and pantsters, because they're at the seat of their pants or something. I hate both of them, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, maybe the garden one is fine and it's super poetic and I'm just forgetting it, but outliners and lunatics, that's the 2. I think it's good to be a discovery writer, okay? And it is kind of a spectrum, I will say that, and I do tend to have a loose outline in mind, but I mostly come up with things as I write, and this doesn't work for everyone, I know, but if you struggle with getting bored of your writing, or if you make outlines and as soon as you get to the actual writing phase, you're like, I hate this, it might be worth it to try discovery writing and just jump into it. Just go for it and see if that's fun. If you do want to outline a similar tip that isn't completely jumping into the deep end, especially for those of you who are trying to understand the concept of outlining, and those who are editing like I am, write the interesting parts, okay? Don't wait to do them. Don't go in chronological order. Write what is exciting to you. And when it comes to the boring parts, make them not boring. Okay, if they are so boring that you don't want to write them, why would anyone want to read them? Why would you want to draw them? Okay, this better be something exciting to draw, look at, find something engaging about these scenes you hate, and turn them around. Challenge yourself, okay? If a scene is boring, it shouldn't be. You're doing it wrong. But if you can't come up with something right away, or if you're so focused, if you're so hyper focused on some other scene that you keep like listening to music and imagining every single sword swing or every little smooch, or you know, like you can't keep your mind off it, write the thing. Go for it. It doesn't have to be a reward, okay? Writing is what you're trying to do. Drawing is what you're trying to do. Don't use drawing as a reward for drawing something you hate, okay? Like, the whole thing should be enjoyable. Don't hold off because you don't want it over, right? Sometimes I will, like, not write a scene because, oh man, when I write it, I'll never have to write it again. Joke's on you. You have to rewrite everything every ways all the time for the rest of your life. You're gonna write that scene 50 times. Enjoy it while you want to be writing it. It is still work. Even though it's fun, it is work, okay? Get that in your mind. Even if you're having fun, you can still be doing work. They are not opposed concepts. They're separate concepts that can wiggle together like DNA or, you know, spiral. Ooh, helix time. Let's go. Okay, number 2, consistency, opposite time. Okay, the tip I have is to be consistent until it gets boring. Okay, we are avoiding boring at all costs. If you have ADHD, boring is a plague and we are avoiding it, okay? Social distance from the boredom. The most important skill to develop is one where you sit down in your chair and you get work done, okay? Coming up with a schedule or a weekly set of goals is important to achieve all of your dreams. Sitting down the same time every day with a goal to write is important. In my experience, it's easier to stay consistent if the sessions begin after an event rather than at a specific time, and if it happens every single day without breaks, right? To break that down, by an event, I mean I start working when I'm naturally going to be in motion or searching for the next thing to do, right? For me, I woke up today, I had my shower, I got my Coca-Cola because it's too hot to have a coffee, and then I sat down to work. And then after I achieve this, I can do whatever I want. And the reason is you kind of want to link things like chains. If I was to say, like, I'm going to start writing at 10 o'clock, and 10 o'clock rolls down and I'm sitting down, I might never get up again. It is a high possibility when you have ADHD that if you stop moving, you die. Productively, not physically. Never stop moving if you want to achieve your goals. That is my tip to you. It's what I do to take out the trash. Okay, I go on a walk every night very consistently. So on trash day, as I'm leaving the house, I take out the trash and then I go on my walk because I am in motion. I am a shark. You can't stop me. That is my tip to you for consistency. My other tip that goes with this consistency is to do it every day. It is possible to take breaks. It is very hecking possible, 100%. I don't take the garbage out every day. That would be incorrect of me. I am not allowed to put garbage on my curb every day of the week. It would be bad for me socially and probably legally. That said, if you want to develop a habit, every day is good. and taking breaks is bad. The reason is it's really hard to start up again, right? It's staying in motion, always be moving. And if you fall out of a routine, even if it's planned, it can be really hard to get back into it. Like, you can do something for a week, the weekend hits, Monday comes, and who wants to do something? It's Monday, right? So instead of taking time off, what I would recommend for breaks is to just do 5 minutes, right? Instead of getting rid of a work session, make the work session shorter. Don't get rid of it if it is something that interrupts your consistency. If you do have that problem where if you stop doing a task every day, it stops being a thing you do after your very first break, never take a break from it. Because there's tons of chores and activities that you never get a break from unless you're sick. Like, please take a break if you're sick. But like, every day I have a shower, I drink my coffee or my brain will hurt, and I make my bed. Impressive, I know. I never thought I would be the person to make my bed, but I do it every day. And sitting down to do work after this chain of events, it just works. It's perfect. If you want to take breaks, it can be easy. Like, if you have like a meeting or like some sort of event that happens like every Wednesday night where like it kind of interrupts the flow, but it like also interrupts kind of the chained event where like your writing would occur or your art time would occur, like then it's usually a little easier to get on board. But if you have the opportunity, if everything happens in place, like go for it, because you want consistency and you want it to be kind of a natural thing that happens in a progression of events so that you don't even really think about it. Yeah, and it's less about pushing yourself to work, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I wonder why. Okay, so number 3, be mindful of brainstorming. Another one that's to counterbalance myself here. When writing and art, okay, art and writing isn't like making your bed, unfortunately. It's not exactly always going to be sustainable in the same way. Writing has a lot of downtime for me. I don't know if art does. My wife is the artist, but for me, writing has a lot of downtime, and I can sometimes go weeks without it, honestly, and it's important for me to do so because I can't keep up that consistency because the downtime is important. And it's good to realize this and not beat yourself up over it. A lot of my writing occurs when I'm laying in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to Evanescence, but like other things can really help with writer's block, right? Like when you're hitting a wall, it's good to stop and brainstorm and let ideas come to you. And a lot of brainstorming isn't really active brainstorming, it's more passive. For me, like playing video games, like I can sit down and play Zelda for like a week and then I come back to writing and it's like, oh my god, I have so many ideas to steal, and then I do, and it's perfect. So do that, and don't judge yourself. Only judge yourself when you start having moments where you're like, oh man, I have ideas to write, and then you never stop playing video games. It takes a lot of power, self-control to realize this and stop. And if you keep playing games and you feel like you're getting nowhere, you feel like your brainstorming is going nowhere, you sit down to write and it's terrible, I don't think it's passive brainstorming time. I think it's hit your computer with a hammer of writing time and just power through the terrible stuff. Always do respect the brainstorming time, and don't beat yourself up. You just need to make sure within the year you get back on that horse okay? It's legitimate to stare at the ceiling, okay? Number 4 is to limit your frickin' projects, guys, okay? For those of you with 10,000 projects, stop it, okay? I will address you in a sec, because I have words, okay? But first, if you have a single project, I would also like to talk to you. Work on 2. If you get bored of a project, work on another one. Just have a backup, because sometimes you just can get really stuck on a project and just go to another one. It's really great for me to have 2 projects that I'm kind of like actively working on, and by actively it tends to be that I switch like monthly, which is what usually happens for me. It took me a long time to start doing this, but when I did, it really helped my workflow a lot. It's nice especially to have projects in different sections of writing, if that makes sense. Like one that's like in the thumbnailing phase, one that's in the first draft, one that's in the 7th. Like if there's a contrast, it can be very helpful just to like activate different parts of your creative brain. If you tend to get stuck at a certain draft and never continue, that's a point to push yourself at, but it's good to have something like to bounce between. Have a goal to finish both of them, of course, and work towards that, because that's where my others will be addressed right here, right now. If you have like 10 projects that you're bouncing between, you need to stop, okay? Like I'm taking them away from you. 2 or 3 at the most, okay? You can shelf projects that aren't going somewhere. You put them on the shelf, you can come back to them in a couple months or whatever, but have a goal to complete these 3 projects that you're working on. I would be so happy and impressed with you. I would give you a gold star if some of those projects that you're working on are small, okay? You can have your magnum opus, but maybe work on a short story, guys. Okay? Do it for me. Because we're parasocial best friends. And I love you and I want you to succeed, okay? So do it. Throw those things in your trash can, because I know you're not gonna take it out because you have ADHD. Stop. Please. I beg of you. I talk to you guys about this all the time, and then you come to me like, oh god, I have 10,000 projects. Which one should I do? Throw a frickin' dart at the wall. That's how you choose. Just pick one, okay? You hate consistency. That's the answer. It has nothing to do with which project is the best, and it all has to do with the fact that you do not want to pick a project at all. You don't want to be tied down. You're a wild dog, but Bucko, you're in trouble now with me, and you pick one. Just pick. Okay, close your eyes, pick. If you're sad, pick a different one. If you're still sad, you're stuck with that one, okay? Like, stop. You can't finish things if you don't work on them. And that's my final tip for you. Wow. Okay, this is me interrupting from the future because I'm editing this and I'm realizing that I forgot to add a 5th tip. I thought I did all 5, but I can't count, apparently. My 5th tip, it says subscribe to my YouTube channel. However, I think that's a funny meme because my actual tip is to find accountability, okay? Accountability is immeasurably helpful when you have ADHD and you want to do your art on time, okay? For me, my writing is most consistent when I've had a critique group that I've needed to keep up with, or when I'm excited to share my work, usually with Ursula. Finding someone to encourage you is so helpful, or simply having like a due date is also good. And I think that's why I said subscribe to my YouTube channel. because I do a monthly critique group, and I know that that's been helpful for some people to have that deadline to reach the critique group. It's a Patreon exclusive thing, of course, and I think that also helps. Sometimes you gotta put up some collateral to get your work done. It is just another form of accountability. Another thing you can do is have friends start a social group that works together until you get to the point where everyone's super chatty every time you show up. Then you need like a social gathering time and a work time where you quietly work at the same time. It's like, what is it called? Body doubling? Super duper helpful for accountability. I'm terrible with accountability because I am a contrarian, as I have stated, and if you tell me, all right, you have a plan, I'm gonna hold you to it, I'm not gonna do it. But the thing where I work alongside someone, super helpful, really good. Self-motivation is so difficult. So if you can't find anyone to read your work and, encourage you that way, finding a group to work quietly with is so helpful. If you all have ADHD, you can all hold each other accountable, but it's in more kind of like a fun social way that gets you more excited to do so. Having other people involved will help your internal clock stay consistent. Having someone to say, hey, are you ready to get working, is good. That's all. I'm gonna cut back abruptly to whatever the frick I was saying before this. You godforsaken little gremlins, go find some friends, okay? Alright, back to the thing. I hope that was informative, educating. Please hit the like button, unhit it, and then hit it again. It'll be fun. I don't know how to be a YouTuber. I always forget. Okay, don't subscribe. Never do that. Do not subscribe. Do not hit the bell because it is loud and I hate it. It will inform you of me putting up videos, and why would you want that? That sounds like a bad use of your time, okay? And go watch another video. I'm nicer in them, probably. Or watch a video where my wife talks. She's sweet. Stop listening to me. I'm really rude to you guys.